So how do we find that those little moments of joy and dignity when we're really in the roughness of life, when the storms are, waving all over us and we're feeling miserable?
I've talked about that you and I both have come to the realization, Linda, that it happens all at the same time. And we have to realize that the light and joy is still there. But I think, being the eternal weird ass I am, that sometimes we just need to be miserable. Go ahead, be miserable, feel how hard it is, then work through it. Work through it. Use your skills, your spiritual bank account that you've built up, hopefully through some prayer work or some meditation or some joy or some music, something that connects you with your divine self. That's what we use in those times. But sometimes I think there's a lot of value in just being miserable. So what? You get out of it.
That makes sense because it's being authentic. And if you're in a situation that's a miserable situation and you're allowing those emotions and feelings, you are who you are at that moment. And as you said, there still will be moments of joy, whether you're grieving, whether you're angry, no matter what it is, joy can be felt at the same time, which you feel even more strongly once you allow yourself to be who you are, I think.
That is so true. And have you noticed that these miseries, that things cycle? That you'll feel it for a few minutes and then it goes away. So, oh, it's better. And there it comes again.
It really
It's like,
does.
yeah, it does because everything cycles in this world. It's the ingoing and the outgoing, the ingress and the egress, the inside and the outside. And it's those spaces in between that is the Tao. The spaces in between us is when you're not physically seeing the Buddha on the road you have to kill, but when in your mind's eye, the silence of that lives. That's where the beauty is. And that's what we're trying to get to be more of a middle of the road person to where, and if I can figure out how to do this, I'll tell y'all, but I'm better at it getting older. But how do you keep from being thrown around by all this stuff that's happening? Well, I think in a way we're supposed to be thrown around by it because that's how we figure it out. But as I've gotten older, it doesn't throw me as much for as long as it used to. Being the drama queen I was, oh my God, I was such a drama queen. But that's how I was. That's how I evolved. That was my path. And when I see other younger people doing it, I think, well, you'll figure it out. You have to figure it out. You have to do what? Try. You have to develop a backbone. You have to be strong. You have to not whine and complain too much. I do some of it. Hello. But it doesn't do any good. All it is showing weakness to get somebody else to handle what's your job. It's like we all work in this big factory and we're just waiting for the break time. Well, you have the break time because you're there to work. And when you come to this earth, you're here to work and it's going to hurt.
And that sort of makes sense why it gets easier as we get older because we start to accept that we're here to work. When you're young, you want to play and you don't want things to be hard. Everybody wants the easy way.
Well, I think there are plenty of older people who want the easy way too, but what you said is true. I think we just get sick of it. I think we get sick of sabotaging ourselves. Plus, the fact when we get older, our physical bodies won't do all this stuff that it did. Back when I was running my farm, I went out every morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock, feed the cows, do farm work, this and that, running around, throwing hay. I can't do that at almost 72. I have no interest in that. There's consequences. Could I do it? Yeah, but there's consequences for that. And we finally, hopefully, with wisdom, accept how we are. And then we can pass that wisdom on to other people who are struggling. I'm so grateful to the people who were patient with my silly ass self. I was awful. Many of the times I was self centered, just nuts at times in my life. And there were people who were smiling and patient with me. God help them. But that's how we have to be when we see other people doing those behaviors when they're young of what we used to do, if they ask for help, if they ask. Otherwise, it's just blowing in the wind. Nobody will hear it.
Right. For me, that's the tricky part, is reminding myself of my own past behaviors when I'm feeling critical of others.
Well, we don't, I went through this thing last week. I was thinking about some of the stupid stuff that I used to do, and I thought, well, all those people are dead that saw me do that. So that's a good thing. They're
That's
all dead. Nobody will ever know.
right.
But now you have phones. Oh my God. Everybody's got a camera and it's eternal. You put it out there, dude, it's there forever. Oh, I'm so glad that wasn't there when I was being a dumb shit. This,
Amen.
I mean, I just couldn't do it. So it's also a control of behavior, knowing everybody has a phone. I think that also controls behavior. I think
It
that's
does.
part of it.
What a good
I,
reason to be reasonable, knowing everybody's, got a camera on to catch you at your worst moment.
that's very true. And I think astrologically, those of you who are interested in that, if you look at your nodes, your moon's nodes, your north node and your south node is what you are really good at. You are a master. If you're a cook, you are a master cook. You're this or that. And you come to teach that. And if you're having a hard time, you'll sink right into that. But your north node is what you can't do at all or poorly. And it's what you teach others to do without being able to do it yourself. So my north node and south node is the Cancer Capricorn one. My south node is Cancerian, which is mother, home, all that stuff. And I'm very connected with that. But my north node is Capricorn. That's law enforcement, military, have some boundaries, have some dignity, be serious. And it took me 60 years to even start getting that. So for the past 12 years, I've gotten better. But look, I married late in life, I married this man that's a tier one operator who trains SWAT teams, penultimate alpha male. I don't try to control him. He can try to control me, but I have to control myself. And Capricorn is control. So I do this thing to where if I leave the house, I don't care if it's just to go get gas. I will put on some makeup and I will dress. I don't mean formal, but I will do that because the way I am, cannot take my inside self, my private self, which is Cancerian, out into the world. When I come home, I will change clothes, but that is how it works for me. When we do the podcasts, for example, and I joke about that, I have stage makeup on, I have the stuff I wear that's from East India because I'm covered. I want to appear to you, people, with dignity. I don't want to be flashing my tattoos or my chest or weird stuff. I just want you to listen to what I'm saying and seeing that I like to create beauty. And the older I get, the harder that is to do. But after the podcast, I take all that crap off my face and I change clothes back into my house clothes, my work clothes, whatever. But I do that as a gift to myself and my behavior that tells me, pay attention, Zoli. Pay attention. Don't take your inside self when your inside boundaries out into the world where you're supposed to show up in a different way. But that's because of my nodes, the nodes of the moon.